However... Lord. Okay. Recording.
And clap in 3, 2, 1. Close enough. This is probably why it's always out of sync.
Yeah. Who knows?
Bit of dead air. That would be a good name for a film. Hi, welcome to another episode of the L&L podcast by Notsteam Productions. I'm L. Grimshaw, joined as always by...
Liam Davies. Hi, guys.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good, thank you. Been a bit busy, completing God of War, and then, you know...
Oh, finally.
Finally.
Oh, good, yeah.
I was a little bit... I don't know. I had mixed feelings about the end of it. I loved it. I loved everything about the game. But I don't know. I wanted more. I wanted more violence.
For me, I thought the last act was a bit sort of short, really. Like,
yeah, it did
you
sort
sort
of
of
feel
gather
a bit...
that little army, and then when you sort of storm in Midgard, or what it was, not Valhalla,
Asgard.
Asgard, yeah, that's the one. And I thought that was really short. Like, you fought like a handful of enemies, and you'd see like, you know, your companions, I guess, you know, your army, like doing stuff in the background or whatever. And I felt like that was over in about 30 seconds, and then you fight Odin, and I thought it was a bit of a weak boss fight, I think, for the final boss.
Yeah, I enjoyed the penultimate fight, who I'm not going to say who it's with, just in case there's anybody listening that hasn't fully played it yet. But
I thought we were going full spoilers. Oh, sorry. My bad.
I mean, I thought the penultimate fight was a lot better than the sort of final boss fight, as it were.
Yeah.
There were some absolutely top boss fights in this game.
There were. Yeah.
There was obviously
lots
the
of
giant
dragons.
wolf, the dragon, the bloody...
Lots of dragons. Like, if you do the side stuff, there's loads of them. Yeah.
Well, I haven't done much of the side stuff. I wanted to focus purely on the story, so that way we could actually discuss it. But I have been sort of like flitting in between, like on my downtime, just going onto it and picking it up. But yeah, no, I agree with what you said in one of our previous recordings, where you said, like, you know, you don't know where it's going from here. And I think they have sort of left the game that way so that they have got a bit of room to maneuver with the future.
I think that's right. Yeah, it's... I think they've got room for more than just a sequel as well. I think there's room for a sort of spin-off, I would say, without trying to give too much away. They could almost do it like, you know, the Last of Us Left Behind, where it was like a little spin-off story, like just as good quality, but maybe like a third of the length of the full game, if you like. That they could do that, maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes next, because we know that it's going to be a new sort of mythology that they'll be in.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll go back to Greece. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think there's many people left in Greece after his last iteration there. Like, I think there's maybe 3 gods that are sort of there. Hera
Egypt,
being one of
then.
them. Egypt would be kind of cool.
It's got to be done, hasn't it? Him fighting like Osiris and Anubis and stuff. That'd be so cool.
I'd say the Egyptians have the most metal gods going. You know, like they're all like animal-headed. You know, like like
Adonises, aren't they?
Yeah. What's the god called in Moon Knight? The crocodile one.
Oh, I can't remember.
Scepter Summit. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But anyway, like fighting
wasn't
him
a very good shot.
Well good.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
But what have you been playing?
So I've just finished Returnal, which
Yeah,
we both played. I don't know how far in you are.
I'm not too far, to be honest.
Yeah, so I say I finished it. I got to the end credits. I think it took me about sort of between 12 and 15 hours, something like that.
Bad.
But it was just brilliant. Like the way that you would keep discovering new things, new weapons, new items, new permanent upgrades, and you're just constantly getting new stuff all the way through. And like, some of the different weapons that you unlock are so cool, like quite unique. Like there's one that you get. It's called like the Ghost Bringer or something like that, and it only has 3 bullets. They're like 3 shards that it fires, and these shards bounce back to you once they've hit the target. But so it's kind of a high risk, high reward, because if you miss a shot or if you miss 3 shots, then you've got to wait for them to go God knows where, bounce off something, come back before you can fire again. Or if you're at close range, you can just hold the fire button down and it's just like ping, 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 ping. So it's really cool, man.
From what you're describing, it sounds like the casting in Hades, where if you miss, you can go and pick it up, but you've only got 3.
Yeah, yeah, sort of. But yeah, and there's when you finish the game. Well, even before when you finish the game, I don't know if you've unlocked it yet, but there's like a tower. I think it's called the Tower of Sisyphus, and you can. It's like an endless mode that you can go in and try and get the highest score or whatever. But you unlock new weapons there as well, which are like consumable weapons. So there'll be like big super weapons that you'll activate them and they last for say 30 seconds, and you just unleash hell on whatever's in front of you. And they're so cool. It's definitely worth going into the tower to test your metal in there, because it gets increasingly harder and harder. Then you have to take
That's
on boss
Hades,
every
right?
20 floors. No, this is still Returnal.
It's still Returnal. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
it called? Tower of...
The Tower of Sisyphus, which I can see why you would think Returnal, because Sisyphus is in
Is a Greek god.
Hades. Yeah, well, he's in Hades as well. He's the guy with the boulder, isn't he?
Yeah. That's why,
the whole-
because I was a bit like, oh, which game are we on about now?
Yeah. No, it's called Tower of Sisyphus because it's a futile task. You know, it's endless. You keep going. There's no top, and then when you die, you start again from the bottom. So it's a cool name. But like the story details that you find out later on into the game, and I think the ending's brilliant as well. Like there's not many video game endings where I'm sort of left a little bit puzzled, a little bit like intrigued, still sort of asking questions a little bit, like. And there's more to find as well about her Celine's story when you go into the tower. Like with Celine, usually you see her house. I don't know if you've seen her house yet out in the.
I haven't yet. Well, I have, but not in a run that I've done.
Right. Yes, you're well early then. Yeah, you probably only done like an hour or something, haven't you?
I've played it to get a feel of it. But in terms of games that I'm currently playing, I've committed to other games.
Other stuff. Yeah, no, fair enough. But yeah, I definitely recommend going back to it. It's like the way it's all told and the stuff that you find out later on, it just sort of adds to the mystery. And I wish I'd have put it higher on my games of the year list. Definitely.
Really?
Yeah, it was a fantastic game.
Like maybe top 1?
Possibly, yeah. Looking back, yeah. What did I put as number 1? I put God of War, didn't I?
God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, so I think as I look back at it, because I'm still playing it, it's with God of War. Since I finished God of War, I haven't been back to it. But with Returnal, that'll probably always be installed on my PS5.
Yeah,
it's one I can just drop into, do a run, and and then completely different to that, I've been playing the latest FIFA. Because
somebody's got it.
Yeah, well, and I like to sort of just switch off and listen to a podcast and like play my career mode on FIFA. And it was on offer So I was like, go on then.
So which one's this? 2022 or
23.
2021? 23. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because the season ends in 2023. Yeah. But it's the last ever FIFA.
Yeah, because
So I thought, I might as well.
EA lost the deal with it or something?
Yeah, so FIFA, the organisation, said to EA that because the deal had run out to use the name and to renew the deal, they wanted something stupid like £4 billion or $4 billion, something like that. It was in the billions anyway, and EA was like, well, all we're really paying for is a name, because all the deals that they have with the teams and the leagues and everything, that's all done individually.
Right.
So really all they're paying FIFA for is the name. And it is
and
one of
maybe
the biggest
like the
names.
stadiums and stuff.
No, again, that's sorted out with the teams.
Because was it you that was telling me about how the future EA games were future FIFA game?
EA Sports FIFA, EA Sports Football, it's going to be called.
EA, right? But was it you that was telling me that it would have had to come with an 18 rating because of the pack system?
Oh no! So that was that was like something to do with the loot box system that they had for I think it was FIFA Ultimate Teams.
Gambling.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But now they disclose what you get in each pack, so it's like you're not actually gambling.
Is it one of those where it tells you like you'll get 2 rare cards and an epic card?
No, I think it's like you will get this player, you'll get this player, you'll get this player.
Oh, okay, fair dues.
Because there was something coming up like it was some law changes, I think, in the US that brought it on. Yeah.
So I've only ever owned one copy of FIFA. Somebody bought it me, and it just collected dust in my room for a while. But I bring it out every so often. Like if I had mates over that enjoyed a game of FIFA, like I don't mind playing it. I just
don't get
no real interest in football, so it's a bit like.
No, I get that. Yeah, like that's the only reason I play it. Really, if I had no interest in football, then I can't imagine I'd have any interest in FIFA. So.
Well, I picked up Deathloop. I've been sort of giving that the good old college try. I love it. I think it's possible. Like I think I said to you in a text, that I think it's Arcane's probably best work.
Yeah, which is a fair shout. Like I can't point out much that's wrong with it, to be honest. For what it's supposed to be, I think it's perfect. I think I just still prefer 3.
I think the difference is for me with Deathloop is that it lends itself to being something that you can actually just play as a shooter.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Prey and Dishonored, it always tried to shy you away from that and be like, no. Trust us, use the stealthy option.
Especially early on.
Yeah. So with Deathloop, like straight away, like my strategy is just run into the area. If anything moves, it dies, and basically brute strength it.
And I think the AI is set up to allow you to do that as well, because they're all a bit dumb. And
they are a bit dumb. But like I have found like there's certain like, because I love how everything always resets, and you're back to like just having a basic gun and stuff. And like I'll remember where certain guns are, and then it's like sneak to there, pick it up, then start my killing spree. Like...
So wait, so how long have you played this for then? Because you can save guns. Once you get a good gun, you can save it.
I've got to be fair, I only picked it up this weekend because I polished off God of War and then I picked this up. And I've just got to the bit where I can save weapons that I want to save. I just need to complete that mission. But I just like how it's got an almost Bioshocky vibe, which sort of the previous Dishonored and Prey all had this Bioshock vibe, but didn't have the gameplay to back it up, in my opinion. Like, the gameplay was very different to what I love in the Bioshock games, of that immersive run around, shoot things that move. Like,
Right.
Dishonored and Prey kind of leaned a little bit away from it. Whereas Deathloop, in my opinion, sort of goes, no, that's one way you can play this, is run at things, if it moves, shoot it. Like, you can run and gun it, or you can be stealthy, or you can be smart. Like, I think it's Arcane's best game, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I say, I can't really disagree with it. Like, it is still Prey for me. I just love the sci-fi setting and how it's a bit tenser, but it seems a bit more. I don't know. I think it's just the sci-fi stuff. I love it. But what I do love about Deathloop, or one of the things I love about Deathloop, is how he's not just a silent main character. Like, he talks a lot and he's funny and like genuinely funny, and like I would love to hang out with him. He sounds like such a good guy.
One of our very earliest recordings, you said about how you love Juliana and Colt's sort of back and forths.
It's so good.
They are so well written that the both characters are quite lovable, in the sense which can be kind of weird for video games, because sometimes they can sort of jar on just being interesting and badass but not lovable. Geralt, I wouldn't really say Geralt's that lovable. He's badass and he's fun to play as.
He's badass and he's cool.
But I wouldn't want to.
I don't know. I think some people would, and I think a lot of ladies would. He's a bit of a player. But yeah, I think.
Well, are we talking the video game version or Henry Cavill?
Sorry?
Are we talking the video game version or Henry Cavill? Because I think the...
Well, either. I don't know. He's got a six-pack in both.
That is true.
So, yeah. I've been watching something as well. It's on...
I think we both have.
I might have mentioned it last week, but I finished it. Or I finished the first series anyway. What's it called? The Peripheral, it's called.
Oh, yes, on Amazon Prime with Chloe Grace Moretz.
That's correct. And I finished it. I really liked it. It's kind of set up nicely for Series 2. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it doesn't get to Series 2. I don't know. Just want to give a little update. It's good. I'd say it's worth a watch. It's eight episodes, I think, which is a good length for a series. It's quite good. There's some twists and turns that I didn't see coming.
So what kind? Because I remember you telling me that the premise is sort of video VR future dystopian.
So it's set in the near
sort of
future.
Age range that you would say on that?
What the show's aimed at?
Yeah, like, because...
Adults.
Is it quite an adult show?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
It's just because obviously with that...
I'll try and set it up. So it's near future, sort of like 2030, something like that. And this girl lives on like old farmhouse with a blind mum and her brother who's ex-military, and he was part of. He was a Marine, but he was part of this special unit. Who, like him and all his mates that he grew up with, they were like sort of recruited together because they already had a close bond, and then they were hooked up with like these haptic stuff so that they could all essentially connect their brains, their
feel
minds,
each other's...
all that stuff, so they could move as a cohesive unit and all this shit. But he was like since retired. But he manages to get work, sort of testing out video game stuff, like video game scenarios, and it's like a VR thing. You put it on, and you do stuff. But his sister, she's really good at it as well. Say if he's struggling, he'll get her involved. She'll put the headset on, and she'll kick ass, and then they'll make some money. And then the premise is he gets a new job. There's like a new headset comes, puts it on. She wakes up, and she's in like another body. Basically, she thinks it's a sim, or a video game. It's not. And yeah, she's actually inhabiting like a sort of android that's in the future by about 100 years.
Oh.
And and then there's stuff there about how like she's interacting with the people who can sort of affect her timeline, and they can help her out. Like her mum's blind, they've got some medicine that might bring her sight back.
Ah, right.
But they want her to do some dodgy shit for them. So yeah, it's pretty good. It doesn't go exactly where you expect it to either, which is pretty good.
So, I'm only going to keep it brief, but there is one other thing that I've been watching, something that I think you've been waiting for a long, long time, and that is Better Call Saul.
Oh, finally. Oh, it's been a good episode, this. You finally finished God of War, and you finally finished Better Call Saul, which, to be fair, I didn't see that one coming.
Finishing Better Call Saul?
Yeah, well, so yeah, kudos, man.
Like, in all fairness, I still, to this day, cannot split Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. But they are...
You don't have to split them.
They're both absolutely brilliant in their own sort of way. I love the fact that as a prequel, something you said kind of rings true to me, in that now that I've watched Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad does feel, which it is, but does feel like a sequel. It does kind of feel like a spin-off.
Yeah.
With the characters sort of being introduced sort of at the end of it. The only thing that lets that down is sort of how the last few episodes play out. Walter and Jesse sort of have a mention, shall we say.
Yeah.
They're not mentioned enough throughout it, in my opinion, in order for that to have been like the base show. Whereas,
they barely mentioned at all.
Exactly. So it would have,
it makes sense for me. It's the way it should have been done, I think.
The entire show was absolutely brilliant. I loved the sort of almost like 1930s noir touches, sort of in the black and white scenes, especially that second to last scene when him and Kim are together in the black and white room. You know which one I mean?
Yep.
And the way that the lights hit it, the way that the shadow falls on each of the characters, just, oh my god, every episode is just a feast for the eyes. Like, as Breaking Bad was, which is why I can't split the two, because Breaking Bad was fantastic because of this very detail of, every scene had me engrossed in like each of the characters. I love how the characters have been fleshed out to the point that they feel believable. Gus and Mike's relationship suddenly makes a million times more sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Mike's such a badass. I love Mike.
Mike's brilliant. I would happily see a spin-off just on him, basically back in the 70s or whatever it was when he was a cop. Because he talks about that one bribe that he wished he didn't take. What about if we saw, his Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, there's room for that, I reckon, yeah.
Shout out to Mustache Man, Lalo.
Lalo, yep.
Fucking brilliant villain.
Yeah, he's class.
He's so sexy. Just everything he does is like, like, can you come shoot me in the head, please? Like, do you know what I mean?
He's in the actors in the MCU as well. He's
Is he?
Yeah, he's a swordsman. He's in the Hawkeye series.
I've not watched it, so...
He's dating the Hawkeye girl, the new Hawkeye.
Does he have the moustache in that?
Dating her mum. Does he have a moustache? I think he does. I think he has like a pencil moustache, if I remember right.
Even better. Even better. That man,
wrong, yeah.
he can stay on my screen all day. I'm quite happy.
Yeah, he's cool.
Nacho.
Bang on.
Such a good cast. Which, shout out to that guy, because he is a very good actor. He played the character in Far Cry 3, the main villain, Vass, who was the...
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, we're talking about a different guy.
Nacho.
That's Nacho, yeah. We were talking about Lalo.
No. And I also just mentioned Nacho, and I said Nacho.
Didn't hear Nacho. Sorry, my bad.
Right.
But well, yeah, he was, yeah. He was Vaz, yeah, he was, yeah.
He played Vass, and he played that so well. Like, that was the best Far Cry villain that I think there's ever been.
Yeah.
Not that the games are all that much in terms of villains.
He did so well as the villain in Far Cry 3. They were like, oh, we're onto something now. We need to get like a sort of quirky, creepy, sort of insane, like bad guy, and almost have them as like the main character. And it's like, look, it worked on Far Cry 3 because Vass was such a good character and it was performed so well. But then they went from that to Pagan Min in Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Far Cry 5's pretty cool though.
Yeah, with the American cult.
Which, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, it just felt like Far Cry 3 again though. You know, just a different skin. So yeah.
One last thing I want to say about Better Call Saul is Bob Odenkirk. Man can act. Like, he plays that role so well. It was a good show. And I actually, to be fair, shout out to El Camino. That's also a really good movie.
Yeah. Ties stuff off nicely as well.
Yeah, like it sort of tells the story of all three characters, you know. There were like a few like bits where I saw like characters from Breaking Bad, and I was like, when Hank shows up, I was like, oh my god, it's Hank! Yeah, don't go in the desert. Stay away from the desert. But I love him. But yeah, so that's what we've been playing. That's what we've been watching. Unless, have you got any other shout-outs that you want to make?
No, that'll do me for this week.
That'll do you. No. So let's move on to a quick topic of let's remake... let me bring it up because I can't remember exactly how it's phrased. If blank was remade, it should be a parody about blank here.
Okay, I'll go.
You go.
I've put... if 12 Angry Men was remade, are you familiar with the film?
Yes.
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yep. If it was remade, it should be a parody about Wagatha Christie. Are you familiar?
Wagatha Christie.
Yeah, are you familiar with Wagatha Christie? I can't imagine you are. Okay, so Wagatha Christie is sort of this public feud turned court case between two wags, wives of footballers. It's the wife of Wayne Rooney, and the wife of what's his name?
I didn't realise football
Vardy.
came with a soap opera.
Well, it will do. And basically, it's just a courtroom drama, but about what actually happened, because it all went to court and stuff, and it was crazy. Like, one of the wags was basically leaking information on one of the other wags about her life, basically selling stories to the press. And so what this woman did that was having these stories sold about her was she like whittled the suspects down to like one or two people, and then fed them fake stories. And then whichever stories came out in the paper, they would know who they'd given that story to and who the mole was. And like reading up on it, it's like that's like spy shit. That's what they do to find moles in spy organisations. And this is somebody. This is the wife of a Premier League footballer. Like what? So yeah, I think that needs the Kubrick treatment. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that, like, to be fair, I didn't know there was this entire side of football.
Well, it's only really happened once, but it is a big thing. Like, there's a whole thing about like phones being requested by the court so that they could look at messages, but then they'd like either refuse to give them in or they deleted their messages off WhatsApp. One of them just straight off like dropped her phone in the middle of the ocean when she was on a yacht. Fucking
what
mental,
are these people
man.
fucking hiding?
Exactly, it's mental, man.
It's
crazy.
has one of them got like Jeffrey Epstein's list or something?
No, it's not even that bad. It's just that they've just been bitching about each other and selling stories, and like, there's like affiliates involved and stuff. It's usually not the sort of thing I'm interested in at all.
To be fair, I'm very much invested in this.
Exactly.
I want to know what's going on with that.
I think there is a documentary that sort of sums it all up. But yeah, I just want to see a dramatisation of it. I think that'd be awesome.
So
yeah, what have you gone for?
Mine's completely offbeat. Not even the same.
Maybe I'm offbeat. Who knows?
So mine is Saving Private Ryan, but instead of World War II, it's the Great Emu War.
What, the Australian Emu War?
Yeah, the Great Australian Emu War.
That the Australian Army lost.
Yes! Yes!
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Just imagine it sort of being a little bit like Jurassic Park, but with more guns.
And more emus.
And a lot more emus. And I just loved that whole chapter of, yeah, we lost, mate. Against a bunch of pretty dumb flightless birds.
So what, is it all about this one unit trying to save this one private from...
That's been kidnapped by a gang of emus.
Yeah, a mob of emus.
And they're holding him hostage. And they just peck him. For information. And I think it'd be an absolutely Oscar-worthy movie. You could hire all the Australian greats like Mel Gibson, Rolf Harris.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got to have Mel Gibson. Rolf Harris? No, I think he's in prison, friend.
I can't think of any other bad Australians. No, you could have Hugh Jackman in there and that other Australian, Chris
Nick Kyrgios.
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. All the Hemsworths. Liam and Luke as well.
Oh my god, because they're all brothers as well in the movie. I didn't even think of that.
There you go. All the Hemsworths.
Right.
You've got your
Let's
cast.
get the money together. We'll get this movie made. Saving Private Ryan in Australia.
I've just put an order in for 1 million emus. Is that enough emus?
I don't think you need that many, to be honest.
Oh, it says it's non-refundable.
Ah, shit. Well, that's where the budget's gone anyway.
Yeah. Oh well. I've done it again.
But yeah, that's what we would like to see movies remade as parodies of.
Yeah,
I quite liked that. Sure. I thought we both had good...
Yeah. Nice little exercise.
I'd like to see a sort of Kubrick movie, but it's just a bunch of angry football wives.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It'd be quite a sinister film. I imagine there'd be a lot of eye gouging.
Well, one of them's Scouse as well, so... Yeah. I think she'd need subtitles.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Which moves us on to one of our main topics. A topic that we've both refrained from talking about thus far.
Yes.
I think. Or at least we may have mentioned it in passing.
Possibly.
But it's Last of Us.
The TV show.
The HBO series.
We've both watched the first episode.
We have. We are possibly going to try and watch episode 2 tonight.
Yes, I am.
But oh my god, so well executed.
Brilliant.
Only one episode, and already I'm kind of really invested.
Yeah.
Um, I like the sort of. We mentioned slightly off air. I love the touches of like moments that have been replicated from the directly from the video game.
Yeah. Well, the very
So
first shot I noticed, the very first shot that it opens on is like looking through a little like curtain that's like blowing in the breeze through a window. That's the opening shot of both the games. Like I saw that and I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. So straight away I was like, yeah, they've done that well. There was the whole car sequence.
that car sequence was
Where
brilliant.
it was so it felt like I was playing it again. You know, it was so weird. I'm like, oh, the burning house is going to be here in a minute, and then oh, there it is. You're like, oh no. And I think something I want to touch on a little bit is the changes that they've made, the little tweaks, which I think all work really well. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And
So I was thinking this when I was watching it because I did notice some key changes to sort of the plot of how the game actually unfolds and how this first episode unfolds. And you did touch on it. I can't remember if it was probably off air, but you touched on it on the fact that a lot of Last of Us is made up of these long ass shooting sequences followed by these stealth sections. You know, you've got gameplay that works to a certain degree for a TV show, but if every episode was just an hour of that, it'd be boring as fuck. So they've sort of tried to speed up the plot a little bit by just altering certain things. And there's
well, no,
one major.
I'd argue that they're actually slowing it down because if you look at the game and say the game takes what 15 hours, like estimate or whatever to finish the game, if you take out all of the combat sections, then you're left with what a few hours, like what
Yeah,
4 hours
okay.
maybe, where
So
you're
I think
walking
we're both on.
around and
I
you're
think we're
doing
both
dialogue
on the
stuff.
same. I think we're both on the same page of the way they've done it is to tailor it to a more cohesive story without all these bits in between.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah,
we'll still have those bits. I imagine there's still going to be tense, like sneaky bits where they're getting past the
yeah,
infected, and then shit'll kick off, and then violence will break out. Like in the first episode, there was like I read a bit about it where a bit on it where it's like the use of violence in TV and video games sort of has to be quite different because in TVs you're just witnessing it, whereas in the games you're committing it, so it needs to feel a certain way in the games. Whereas in TV, even just the threat of violence is enough. And I think if you only actually see Joel like attack anyone or sort of defend himself maybe twice in the whole episode, and
yeah,
both times it's both kind of brutal and a bit like sort of shocking. You're like, whoa. So yeah, I think they'll focus more on the characters and because that's really what's great about the story of The Last of Us. It's the
yeah.
connection between Joel and Ellie. But Bella Ramsey, by the way, as Ellie, wow, like she's phenomenal. Like they've sort of changed it, like her story slightly on how we were first introduced to her. Like she's locked up and not happy about it, and she's very sweary. And yeah, just like sounds like Ellie, and you're like, yeah, I think. She was saying like she'd never played the game, which makes sense.
Yeah,
She's technically not old enough to play the games. You're like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's like, yeah, she's so good. I knew that Pedro Pascal was going to be good because he's great. And I've seen Bella Ramsey in a couple of things, and I didn't doubt that she'd be good, but yeah, I'm sort of impressed with how good she is.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely brilliant. Like, and I noticed Marlene.
Yeah, yeah, played by the same lady, which that's so good. There's gonna be a few like that as well, apparently. And someone like Troy Baker, who played Joel in the games, he's gonna play someone else. And same with is it Ashley Johnson plays
Yeah,
Ellie?
Ashley Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna be in it as well as again as somebody else. Yeah, I'm looking forward to where it's gonna go. I think I know what the next episode's gonna be because it's called Left Behind,
Yeah,
which is the spin-off from the first game. It's basically how Ellie got bit. So I
yeah.
think that's what I'm gonna see tonight. But yeah, I'm down for that. Like, yeah,
I'm
I
excited for
can't wait.
what's to
Yeah.
come.
Um,
Like, I'm kind of shocked at how well they've done it. Like, because I don't know, I just think that everything works for it. It's a really good sort of zombie piece at the moment. Which after
I think I think when it finishes though, I think people will look at it as more than that. I hope. I think that's what they're going for. More of a character piece, more of a character study. And something else that I love as well is that it's going to get people interested in the games that would have never otherwise played the games. Like they've said actually, since the first episode aired, the sales of both the games have shot up.
Yeah,
so there's going to be lots of people experiencing the game for the first time, and if they're doing that because they've watched the TV show, I think they're close enough that they'll be quite happy with what the game plays like, especially if they're playing like Part 1, like the PS5 version, or Last of Us Part 2, in that engine where it just looks free and amazing, it sounds quality, and it really gets that same feel. When they recognise the same music as well, like nice
that was
touches,
a nice touch.
Yeah, brilliant. It's not exactly the same, of course. Like it's been amped up and sort of given extra life, I guess. But it's almost like
that was.
It's almost a ready-made TV show as it is anyway. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that they've not had to do much. I'm sure they've put a lot of work into it, of course. But
the foundations were already there.
Yeah, exactly. When the source material was so good, like yeah. I'm just so happy that my favourite franchise is now getting its moment in the sun, and by everything that I've seen, all the reviews I have seen, everybody loves it. Everybody says it's great, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Like it was so good. I'm really excited for Bill's character to be introduced.
Yes,
because
me too.
Played by Nick Offerman. Who
I cannot wait.
He's brilliant.
I remember even before there was a TV show in the works, or there was none of that going on. I was part of the Last of Us Reddit group, and the amount of times that people would be like, my dream casting if they did a film or whatever, and Nick Offerman was always down next to Bill. Like everybody,
really,
was like, Nick Offerman's Bill. It was always people's dream casting, and then when they came out with it, I'm just like, oh, yes.
Sometimes it happens,
yes.
Sometimes
it
happens. But
fan power's great, man.
I wonder how they're gonna do it, because HBO typically the first season's always like 8 episodes. I wonder, because obviously, how close are they going to stick to the video game? Because are we going to see, like, is season 1 going to be all of Last of
they
Us?
said it is going to be, series 1 will be get the first game, and that it will essentially follow the same like plot points, but it will diverge in places. Like they mentioned in the first game, in the first episode, that they're trying to get to Joel's brother, because he's like stuck out somewhere,
Yeah.
like beyond the wall, and they need to get to him to save him. Blah blah blah. Like, whereas at the start of the game, Joel hadn't seen his brother in like 10 years or something. So it will diverge. It'll go a little bit differently. But I think the end point will be much the same.
The way that I kind of want, I don't know if it would work though, but the way that I would do it is I would do the first season is one half of the first game.
Up to where?
Maybe when they meet Joel's brother.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's not much of a climax to the season, is it?
Yeah.
I think I don't think you want to stretch it out too much. I think a series per game would work. If you're going to split a series, a game up, it would be the second one, because that's
true.
That's literally split up in two as it is. Although I think with that, I would rather it was like an episode on each side, like it'd flip back and forth, maybe.
That would be quite cool.
Have you seen who the fan casting is for Abby? If they do a series 2, it's Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Like you can see it, can't you?
Is she not a bit short?
She's a little bit short, but she don't mind. The magic of the film.
As well, like that would be good casting.
She's got the look, hasn't she? And yeah, like she'll work out and get a bit beefy for it. I think she'd be great.
Buff.
Yeah.
Like Abby. I end up preferring Abby over
Same.
all the other characters.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about all the other characters. Like I'm still a Joel fan. Long live Joel.
I do love Joel, but I do kind of understand where Abby's coming from.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But I do. You got to understand where Joel's coming from as well.
Yeah, I do. Like, I get it. Like, he suffered, but yeah. So that's our Last of Us.
Yep. And we'll talk about episode 2 next week. Yeah, not only sort of half joking there.
We probably will end up talking about it. We have a tendency to sort of hyper focus on one particular series, and I think Last of Us is probably going to be one of those. It was The Boys initially when we first started this beast.
Yeah.
But yeah, which moves us on to our main topic: Pokemon Gone Wild.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Everybody's favourite Pokemon are on strike due to unfair treatment.
Wimps.
But you've got a Pokemon tournament coming up, Liam.
Oh.
So
have you.
6 video... Yeah, so have I, yeah, no. But I'm narrating. Leave me alone. 6 video game enemy types that you would use in a tournament. Now, I gave you the listing for each of the abilities.
Types. Well, we've gone for 6, haven't we? Yeah.
Gone for 6. So, when I bring it back up. Sorry, this is great podcasting. Right, so the types are fire type, water type, flying type, a grass type, a rock type, and an electric type.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to pick a video game enemy type.
Yep.
To basically fill that role.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to pit them against each other and say who is more successful. And I have a sneaking suspicion that you might win, but...
Yeah, I usually do with these, but...
Yeah, you usually do. I have some solid answers.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have some. Like, I've definitely got one that I just couldn't think of anything, so it's a bit of a...
Well, let's go straight into it. What's your fire type?
So fire type, I've gone for... Because what's scarier in Fallout than a Deathclaw? So imagine a fire-breathing Deathclaw. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
It's pretty
I mean,
scary. And
I've
especially
also.
if it obeyed my commands as well, like that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, but would it, like. I don't know, would it not, like, just turn around and bite your head off?
Well, it's a Pokemon,
Oh, I suppose, yeah, once it's in a
you know.
Pokeball, it's you a bitch.
Yeah, once it's in my Pokeball,
Well,
yeah.
I've gone for a dragon from Skyrim.
Any particular kind? Any particular one?
Um, just a blood dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Okay.
I've literally just put dragon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you put a lot of thought into that.
I knew what I meant.
Nearly all of mine have got names. Nearly, not all of them.
A lot of mine haven't.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
There's one that's just called That Thing from Thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought of this because I remember playing Fallout 4 for the first time, and I stumbled into Deathclaw like nest by accident. I was like level 4, and there were like
Was it
15.
the one in the witch house?
I have no idea.
thing?
No idea. Yeah, there was like 15 in there, and one would have been enough to easily kill me. And yeah, they just wiped the floor with me. And yeah, it was a bad time. But then when I was like level 30 odd, I went back and I laid waste to them with what were those? Were they called Fat Mans? Were you fling a nuke?
Yeah, the mini nukes.
Yeah, they were class. But yeah, I think yours would probably actually win in that if they were.
Only because they had the advantage of flying.
Yeah.
They could learn fly as well as firestorm.
Yeah.
Like,
I do think the Deathclaw would just like jump on, like say if you did swoop down, he'd jump on Angon and do some damage. But yeah, maybe you've edged that one. But really, if you sent out your fire type, I'd just send my water type out, which is the Frog King from Death's Door. So Death's Door was like this one where you play as like a little sort of soul gathering sparrow. It was like a top down sort of beat 'em up, not beat 'em up, sort of a slash 'em up, sort of Souls inspired. You know, there was a parry, a dodge, like attacks and magic and stuff. A cool little like 2D art, like really nice looking game. And some cool bosses. And yeah, this guy was a particular bastard. He's basically a giant frog that wears armor and has like a magic shooting staff, and he like bounces around and stuff. So yeah, he'd be my water type.
Well, my water type is technically also a ghost type because it's the undead zombie fish.
What's
from
the undead
Resident
zombie fish?
Resident Evil 4.
Oh, okay.
It's a giant fish. It looks hideous. It looks like a Magikarp that's been left out in the sun for too long.
Nice.
Um,
How big are we talking?
It's pretty fucking huge. I don't know. Like it's big enough to drag a boat.
Oh, okay, right.
Like, because that's.
Oh
one of the
yeah, I
things
remember that. You're not in like a rowing boat and you harpoon it.
Yeah, you've got to harpoon it and then shoot it
Yeah.
once you've caught a line with it and stuff. It's a whole level.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but I think it could splash the fuck out of anything you have to offer.
What if we're not near a considerable body of water?
Then he'd probably just flap around and be useless. Whereas yours is an amphibian, so
An armoured
he's a zombie
amphibian.
fish. He's a zombie fish, so
True. I suppose he's already dead. But yeah, he hasn't got
I still
legs or
don't
anything
like
to...
his chances
No,
outside of water.
yeah, probably not. Yeah, I think I'll take that one.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Yeah. Next though, flying type, I've gone for Nadra, which is the blue spirit dragon from Breath of the Wild. So I've got my own dragon. And they look like the sort of Chinese style dragons, where they're like sort of long and like almost like snake like while they're flying through the air. So they don't even really have wings, but they're still flying. and hard as fuck. Shoots like lightning out and stuff. So yeah, he's cool.
So,
And as well, I can chip bits of him off and use it to make some sick armour and weapons, like in Breath of the Wild. Multi-purpose dragon.
sweet. Yeah, I mean, what, picking off bits of him?
So in the game, yeah, you have to like when they appear, you can hit them, and you can break bits of their claws off, or their fangs, or their scales, and use those to upgrade different armour.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Multi-purpose. Beat that.
I don't think I can. So my flying type is the Deathrite bird from Elden Ring. It's basically this big heap of nasty that will attack you. There's like mini ones that aren't too bad, but they're like high up, so you can't see them, and then eventually they'll just attack you.
Oh right.
And there's a boss one, which is a particularly nasty boss because he's always in the air, and like if your character's melee based and not like ranged, you're a bit fucked. But you've got to get magic and you just blast him out of the air. But anyway, he's a big ass skull bird.
Cool.
I got him more for the aesthetic.
Yeah, and if he's like how big, like size of a house?
No,
houses?
not quite size of a house. Size of a bear.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, a large bear.
Yeah. Yeah, my dragon's huge. Like it could probably eat him in a mouthful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking that one again. You didn't think this through, did you?
No.
To be fair though, you're going to catch me up on this one because I couldn't think of a grass type. So I went for Goomba from Mario. You know, the little brown dudes that you squash.
Oh, the little mushroom.
Yeah. So I got one of him for no, not the mushroom. That's Toad. Goomba. He's a little brown dude with a face. They're like basic enemies.
He has a face.
Yeah, they're the basic enemies in Mario games. Like the ones that you jump on and they squash. Yeah, basically because I've already got
mushrooms. They look like bad mushrooms. Not colourful mushrooms. They look like bad mushrooms.
I guess maybe. Yeah.
They're like
I never really knew what they were. They're just the Goombas, aren't they? And I want one. I want one on my team. I think I've got enough space on my team for like a joke edition. Because, you know, it's you.
Well, my grass type is the one where I wrote that thing from Zelda. So
what thing?
Basically in Zelda Twilight Princess, the giant evil elfy looking motherfuckers with sticks.
Oh, I don't know. It's been probably 20 years since I played Twilight Princess, so I don't know, man. But yeah.
Well, anyway, they hang around in grass, so.
Yeah, grass was a hard one, man. I was trying to think of something that was even like nature orientated that I could. But yeah.
I nearly put Jin from Ghost of Tsushima, but then I remembered it had to be enemy types.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have counted. And then I couldn't be asked arguing like a Mongol.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I forgot. I nearly for water type. I nearly put the World Serpent from God of War, but you don't fight him, so he's not really an enemy type. But he's fucking massive. He's like literally goes around the world. I'd have won if I'd got
cool.
him.
I kind of wanted to fight him though as Kratos. Like I wanted to see a boss fight between those two.
Yeah. We witnessed his birth. In Ragnarok. That was pretty cool.
That is
kind of spoiler alert, I guess, but not really. My rock type, I've gone for The BTs from Death Stranding. So they're just like sort of gloopy, like glob monsters that come up out of the ground. Except now they can throw rocks at you as well.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, they are horrible. Have you not played Death Stranding?
I've played little bits.
To be fair,
they
it takes a while.
rocks at you. Yeah, I've been tempted to download it on my PS5 just to see what the difference is.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because it looked amazing on PS4. So yeah, get that on PS5, but it looks great. I don't think I'll start again though because that opening it takes like 8 hours. Like not even joking, it takes good 8 hours before you really into the game.
Yeah,
it's mad. It's good, but yeah, it's having the time for that. Yeah, who's your rock type?
So my rock type is Yom the Giant from Dark Souls 3.
Oh. I had a feeling there was going to be some Dark Souls and Elden Ring boys in this.
Yeah, well, it's only because that's all I've been playing. But no, he's a pretty cool boss. He's actually quite a decent boss fight. There is a sort of cheat way to... No, it's not even a cheat. Basically, as you go in, there's a weapon you can pick up, which if you use that against him, it's super OP and you basically knock him out in a few hits. But there's lore to back it up as to why that is, and the lore behind Yom is quite sad. Dark Souls is all about the linking of this flame. Every time the flame gets linked, it dawns a new age. He was one of the previous linkers of the flame, even though he didn't want to. And in doing so, he lost, basically, I think it was the love of his life. And was basically never... He was immortalized, but she never came back. So he made a promise to one of his, servants, saying, look, one day I want you to end me. And left this sword, which you pick up. But he's just this badass, big guy that smashes things around. He's got a big-ass sword. He's gonna hit you, guy, and I think personally that Yom deserves this one.
Well, how do you hit Gloop?
Hard.
Gloop just goes around whatever's hitting it and just suffocate.
All right, well,
literally,
he's also got
the only way to beat the BTs.
Flame.
Eh?
He's got ability to flame. So
he's a rock type. You know about?
Yeah, but he's also somebody that linked the flame, so he has fire type as well.
Yeah, fire doesn't work against it. Literally, the only weapon that works against BTs is Norman Reedus' piss. So unless you've... Yeah, I shit you not. You collect his piss and shit when you go to home bases, like the little, his little bases, and then you turn that matter into grenades, and then you throw the grenades at the BT, and it that'll do a little bit of damage. But then the idea is to shoot through the cloud, and then it'll take his clouded up piss, and that'll kill him. I shit you not, this is the only way to kill a BT.
Right, but is it specifically Norman Reedus' piss and shit? Is that blood explained in the story?
Yes. You literally make weapons out of his piss.
Why is it only him?
That's explained in the story. That's kind of spoilery. Also, it makes no fucking sense because it's because it's fucking Kojima. But yeah, you can get some weapons that the rounds in them have some of your blood in them, because it's your blood that is it's like an active thing against the BTs. Yeah, it's so fucked, that game.
The more you tell me, the less I want to play it.
Oh man, I tell you,
Yom
actually
wins.
Yeah,
Yom
I remember
wins.
because at first there's no way to fight the BTs when you're on your deliveries. You're just having to Like if they attack
Run
you,
away.
you've just got to run. Yeah, you just like sometimes you just drop whatever it is you're carrying. You're like, I'm fucking gone. Because there's no way. If you're carrying loads of stuff, you've got no chance. I was trying to get through some like rocky terrain on a motorbike once, and I got stuck. And then a BT started attacking me, and yeah, like really terrifying because it just starts coming up out the ground, and
I like
your
how they
place
just
starts
appear with like
moving
loads of
slowly,
hands
like-
as well.
Yeah, and like they come up out like oh, like it's almost like oil, like it's that black and sort of shiny.
Yeah.
It comes up and like the hands grab at your legs and stuff as you're walking out, like, and the animation of you
Visually-
proper trudging out, like oh yeah.
Visually fantastic.
Still fighting for your guy, aren't you?
Yom.
I tell you what, call this one a draw then.
No draw. Yom wins. Just purely because the nonsense of how only Norman Reedus is blood,
I didn't come up with that
shit,
nonsense.
and piss, and probably puke.
No, I've not noticed any puke, but definitely blood, piss and shit.
Right, just for that sheer fact alone, Yom wins.
Well, you just said that there's a sword that
Yeah,
can beat Yom easily.
Well, oh, for fuck's sake.
And that's
I regret telling you that now.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Right, fine, whatever. Let's move on because
Tell me what's rarer, a sword or Norman Reedus's bowel movements?
I mean, I'd hope the sword.
So yeah,
Maybe
let's call that a draw. I'm being gracious there, giving you a draw.
So that's
Go on,
our rock type.
switch up for the last one. Tell me your electric one first.
Electro from Spider-Man.
Is he in a game?
Yeah, he's in the last one.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Yeah, of course he was. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I did think he was one of the easier bosses, I would say.
He was, but it was kind of only one of the only people I could think of with like actual lightning ability.
Yeah, see,
So
I've
I
got
was
a
a
good
bit like, go on.
Yeah, I didn't think it's a good shout, and to be fair, I couldn't think of any either. But because I played it not long before Ragnarok came out, God of War 2018, I can't even pronounce the name. It's spelled HR, and then one of those connected A and E's, and then ZLYR. So Hrazler. He's the sort of electric breathing dragon that you fight in the first God of War. Yeah, he was badass, man. Because I nearly put Thor's sons. But then I was like, well,
Modus and
yeah, it's like Modi and
Modi and
Mighty. I don't know. But yeah, I nearly put them in, but then I thought, oh, they're people. Like, can I put people in
I
a
put a
Pokeball?
person in.
Did you? Who?
Electro.
Oh yeah, shit. Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
He's an enemy.
he is. Yeah, he's not going to beat my dragon though, is he?
No. I think I've lost this.
Well, do a rundown again. We'll just refresh us. So fire type, I've got Deathclaw.
I got Dragon from
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Yeah, I think you've got that one. Water, I've got the Frog King.
Zombie undead fish.
Yeah, I think that's mine, that one.
Unless they're fighting in water.
Well, I think even so, like, Frog's comfortable in water.
Yeah, but undead zombie fish.
You're not having that one. You're not having that, no chance.
Right.
Flying type, what did you get?
Deathrite bird from Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah.
Giant skull bird.
Yeah, and I got Naedra, the blue spirit dragon from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I lost that one.
Yeah, big boy. You won the next one though. I went for Goomba.
I went for thing from Zelda Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
Its
that
name I
thing.
can't remember.
Yeah, I still don't even know what this thing is.
It
I'm
has a
just taking your word.
stick and it hangs out in the
It
ground.
has a stick. That's all. That's the only weapon it has.
They were like blue and they had like big ears and they
Harder than a Goomba.
Probably, yeah.
Probably. You don't sound very convinced.
Well, no, because they could just kick the Goomba in the face.
Yeah, so they're harder than a Goomba.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. You can have that one. And then rock type, we were still at a stalemate on this. I think BTs are pretty tough.
Yum, the giant.
I'll give it you.
You only get one, by the way. You only get one BT.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, Smash.
That's the biggest one. Okay, it's fine. I'll let you have it. You can have that one. Because I'll still win the next one anyway.
2. Oh no, I've won 3.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, I have. Fire
you won
type.
grass and rock. Oh,
Fire,
and
grass,
fire
and
type. Oh, it's a draw then. Because at electric, I've got the big dragon thing against electro. So
yeah, and I've got electro.
Very good. Yeah, all right.
So it's a draw.
Yeah.
So we need a bonus.
Oh.
One last Pokemon. Your legendary. Enemy type.
What type?
It's got to be a boss. Like a boss. Enemy boss.
Yeah, what type though? What?
Any. Free reign. It's just a legendary.
Oh, okay.
I've got one. And I've got
one.
a type in mind.
Yeah, okay. I'm not really sure about the type, but yeah.
Okay, so I'll go first. Blood-starved beast from Bloodborne. And it's a poison type. It's a fucking well annoying boss because it releases this like mist all the time that like slowly dwindles your health down unless you've got like the right herbs equipped. So you've got to like spam square at the right time so you don't lose loads of health. His like attacks are just full on. Like he does not let up. There's no area attacks. It's all like close combat, fast like flurries and stuff. Yeah. So he is a hard as nails boss in the Soulsborne series.
Mine, I'm going for Nemesis from Returnal. I think it's the 3rd boss, if I remember right. And it's so hard. He's like this floating giant thing with like a million eyes. And when you're fighting him, you're on like floating platforms. But then after you get his health down 1 bar, he like changes form and then blasts all the platforms to a million pieces, and then you're just falling. And then there's like little platforms coming up that you've got to like grab onto and then like shoot up onto, and you've got to do all this while dodging attacks and still shooting him. And he's absolutely massive. And he shoots all sorts of like beams and bullets and all sorts.
But poison type.
Yeah, okay. Like, no, I don't think we're going to settle this, to be honest.
To be fair,
I don't think it helps when neither of us have played against the other one's boss.
That is a good point. Bowser, fire type.
Why don't we just shake hands and call it a draw?
Yeah, it's a tough battle. Upon releasing both nightmares from their Pokeballs, we're like, actually, let's not see how far this goes.
Yeah,
like, come back. Like, no. But no, I thought that was a bit of fun. The idea of just Throw in a Pokeball in another video game and just seeing what you come out with.
Yeah.
To be fair, it would have been cool just to put Kratos in a Pokeball. Just throw him down whenever you need.
Kratos punch.
Mini angry man. Yeah.
He just turns and looks at you like, what did you see?
So moving swiftly on to NOCEBOVERSE. Not really much of one today, just general updates. Got a few things in the works coming out. Loads of short stories such as Short Stay, Invited, Kenka, Between Science and Magic, and that's it for now. I think they're all and Cruel Waves. They're all available on my Patreon for free, the ones that I've already spoken about throughout previous episodes. It'd be really cool if anybody wanted to check them out. Maybe leave a comment just about like maybe some characters that you've noticed. I don't know how to sell myself. I'm not very good at this part.
I think you were doing fine until you started getting weird. No, yeah, I think you're doing good. Yeah, like and subscribe.
But yeah, no, check it out on my Patreon. I'll link a few of them below at the bottom of this episode when it airs.
Cool. Yeah, you're going weird again.
I don't know how to finish it off.
It's fine. I think you did well.
I'll probably just snip it out a few. Just like and subscribe.
No, I'd say leave it. I think you did well.
Do you need a breaker out?
Not unless you do.
No, cool. I just wanted to double check.
Cool.
So, I think we'll skip the mental health one.
Okay.
Just in terms of tone of episode.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Because when I wrote it, it was, yeah. So, Last of Us, and then future story-based game, and closing hypothetical.
Well, we've already done Last of Us, haven't we?
Okay.
Unless there's more.
Well, I was just going to say, like, future of video games. Like, adaptions, now that we've seen Last of Us. And we could also touch on Witcher.
Well, so you said, it said the future of story-based games. Is that what you meant? Because I thought you meant, like, single-player games.
No, I'm reading a different thing. Yeah, no, that's fine. Great podcasting. So, what is the future of story-based games? We've seen a lot of different things at the moment, of different ways of, like the 180 that Kratos has pulled off with, the storytelling that they've gone from being these bloody roller coasters to more of a sort of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, more grounded and more of a personal touch.
A lot more emphasis on story-driven sort of AAAs over sort of, the sort of classic just rail shooters that we were all kind of used to back in the day. So what do you think? What kind of stuff do you think we're going to see moving forward with this new year?
Well, I'd say that really the formula hasn't changed a great deal in the last sort of 10 years, and I don't see it changing a lot going forward. You got, like you said, there's lots of different ways of telling a story in a game. Like my favourites, as we've already touched on, is games like The Last of Us. Where, it's very linear, very curated, but because of that, it lends itself to being, arguably a better looking game than a huge sprawling open world thing. But then there's things like Elden Ring where it's telling its story in a more subtle way. It's through things that you find and people that you encounter, and it's all, from what I've seen anyway, a lot of it's kind of cryptic. Not necessarily like, oh, go here, speak to this person, do this. It's more like somebody tells you a story and they mention a peak somewhere. You're like, oh, is that the peak you was on about? And you make your way there. You know, there's so many different ways. Like we were talking about Prey and Deathloop a bit earlier on, and how particularly in Prey, how there's not really that much story. It's, you know, you're trapped on a space station with these aliens and you're trying to escape. That's basically the story. But you can find all this information along the way, whether it's reading emails or finding recordings or, you know, finding people and finding out their stories. And so much of it is missable and, you know, it can pass people by. I don't think it really takes anything away from the game or the story, perhaps, but definitely adds to it if you do do that extra stuff. So I think for me, it's like I'm happy with where we are at the moment, I guess, with the choice we have of how I get my stories in a video game. I think it's when we've got that much choice, it just shows that the industry's in good health. So yeah, kind of happy. Yeah, what about you?
I think we're gonna see maybe some newer games sort of establish themselves as being like the new franchises of like to come generations of console. So stuff like Horizon. I think that what they're doing with slowing production down on some of these bigger games like God of War, you know, like the last one came out in, was it 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, 4 years, slowing it down, keeping the consistency there. I'd like to see where a lot of, like, say, Horizon is going, because they've recently announced a whole bunch of new games. And I'm wondering how many of those are actually going to be worth playing, even if you're a fan. There is one that I'm kind of interested in, with the idea of it being like a 4-person co-op.
Yeah, they've not really given any details on that though, have they yet?
No, but the only thing I can sort of imagine is that you'll have like different hunting classes, and the idea is you go out on expeditions and you've got to hunt like legendary mechs that, you know, 3 claws or whatever is called, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like each hunter type will have their own class and ways that you can sort of like build in on the story. We talked on a previous podcast where we talked about the Hunger Games at great length and how we'd like to see a video game adaptation of that. You know, we're seeing a sort of balance at the moment between video games that would work really well as online but not given the sort of time to do it, or video games that have tried too hard on the multiplayer and been let down by the fact that there's no solo element to the game. Games like Anthem. I think Hunger Games could be a really good game franchise to sort of any company to get hold of, because there's an element of both games types that would please everyone in there. And like I'd like to see maybe something like that in the works in the future.
Yeah. I don't know, I find that
crackheads outside.
Nice. I just find that for me personally, like with, especially if you're telling a story, it's just, for me it's so much better in single player. Like if stuff's multiplayer, I just think that loses the sort of bespokeness of it, and kind of detracts from the story. Like I couldn't tell you a multiplayer game that I've played where I'm like, oh, the story's really good in that. You know what I mean? It's like that's not really what brings me into a multiplayer game. It's generally the opposite. It's like I'll have my single player game that I'm playing for the story, and then I'll have something else that's like a shooter that's mindless that'll be online.
Yeah.
That you know, I'll play that while I'm listening to podcasts or whatever. So yeah, I get what you mean, but it just doesn't.
We've got things
me,
like you've got things like Dark Souls and Elden Ring where they've got like drop in, drop out sort of connectivity, so you can be invaded, you can be, like get people to assist you with boss fights. Deathloop, you've got Juliana, who's played by another player who comes and hunts you. Like
unless you turn that off, which I did. So she still invades you, but it's AI. Because I didn't like the idea of
like
someone
that,
coming in and ruining my run.
See, I kind of like the risk, but I think it's again just Dark Souls rubbing off on me. But yeah, I personally would like to see more sort of story-based elements that are sort of rooted in gameplay, and possibly look at a multiplayer angle. I think that something like Battle Royale, the classic Battle Royale, the Japanese one, or something like Hunger Games, could work really well as a single player and multiplayer. Just food for thought.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think the story would be much good if it was on the Battle Royale. Because there was no real story there. It was all a bit crap.
Not really.
But I think, with the Hunger Games, I think that could work. But I don't know. I think the reason it hasn't been done is because it'd be so tricky to reconcile the stuff that's going on in the arena and then the actual like rebellion, uprising stuff. It's like, what would you play as? Would it be both? Would it be neither? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, is it one or the other? Like, how do you see it happening?
Not that I'm saying it's a great example, but Fallout 76, they had Nuclear Winter, which was like their Battle Royale mode. And the way that they sort of explained where it sort of sat canonically, because you'd go to these places and everything's just abandoned. There's no NPCs on the map whatsoever. It's very much like it was when the game first launched.
Right.
What they've basically said in the sort of lore is that Fallout Nuclear Winter takes place like 50 years before the vaults began opening. And these are like the people that are out there like basically surveying the land and feeding back. And that's basically what you're playing in, is this sort of arena. So if you were going to do the Hunger Games thing, and we mentioned this in the original, well, we talked about this in the original podcast, original episode, but what I would do is I would have the linear story, and it doesn't necessarily have to follow Katniss, but it should definitely follow her trajectory.
It should, I think it should really.
But then you could have parallel to that, maybe an alternate future where she doesn't succeed and she just gets killed off, and the Hunger Games just continues in effect forever.
Yeah.
And that's what the multiplayer element is, where you build this character up, you get sponsors, and that's more close to what people would want from, like, say, a Hunger Games game.
Yeah.
So, I think if you were to do it like that, that could work quite nicely. I don't know why I keep doing this hand movement, like I'm grating cheese or something. But
yeah, cool.
And moving on to our next final, second to last. Oh, it's our closing hypothetical.
Oh, what have you got for me, big boy?
So, would you rather have a one-way flight with Amelia Earhart?
A one-way flight?
Yeah.
Okay, with Amelia
Earhart. Or a night on the Titanic?
So, you tell me to choose between a quick, or presumably quick, like fiery crash of a death with Amelia Earhart, or a slightly slower, cold, drowny death on the Titanic? Okay,
Well,
let me chew
am
on
I
that for
there?
a second.
Am I there? Because there is a logical answer here. And I've thought about this quite often. And Jay actually helped me come to this conclusion as well. So, Amelia Earhart, the question is one-way trip with Amelia Earhart. Yes, she's known for that one time where she was never found.
Yeah,
And to this day, nobody knows what happened.
she was abducted
For
by
all we know.
aliens.
Possibly. Quite probably. But she was quite a successful pilot with quite a few flights under her name.
Yes.
The Titanic, however, only lasted
Yeah.
one trip.
Yeah, it didn't last one trip.
Well,
Yeah,
there we go. So the
sunk on its
logical
maiden
answer
voyage.
here, Liam.
I suppose, yeah. I was leaning that way, to be honest, for two reasons. One, you said it was a one-way flight. So I'm like, well, that to me tells me she lands. And if we land somewhere, we're not dead. And if that's not the case, then even if we do crash, I'm pretty sure that's going to be an instant kill. Like, there's going to be no suffering. I'm not going to be freezing my tits off in the ocean somewhere on a boat, on a door.
Plot twist.
Yeah, so
you land in the Arctic.
well, yeah, I'm still the impact will kill me. It's fine. But yeah,
Or
I think definitely Amelia Earhart.
slow drowny death on the Titanic.
Nah, fast fiery death with Amelia Earhart. Thank you. That'll do
Yeah,
me.
I mean,
It is the logical answer. You're right.
like, to be fair, I wrote this down, and then afterwards I asked Jay, and she was straight away like, Amelia Earhart. And at first I was like, well, no. And then she sort of prized that information out my head, being like, well, think about it.
She lawyered you.
Yeah, she lawyered me. She Saul Goodman'd me.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant. But yeah, definitely, if Amelia Earhart offers you a one-way trip, take her up on it. If somebody says you've won a cruise and their first words out of their mouth after you've asked, oh great, what's the ship called? Is Titanic. Run!
Yeah, somehow I don't think anybody's naming their ship Titanic anymore. The seafaring types are quite suspicious, aren't they? And superstitious. Like, you always have to smash a bottle against the ship before it goes out on its maiden voyage, all that bullshit. Like, yeah, I think they'll steer well clear of that.
Have you ever heard about the woman that survived two basically famous ship sinkings? She was on the Titanic, survived.
Oh, I did hear about this, yeah.
And then she was on another ship that
another
I
shipwreck.
think was out to help rescue the no. Either way, she was in two shipwrecks within her lifetime, and it's like, just stay away from ships.
Yeah, there was one guy who I don't know which way around it was. He lived in like Nagasaki, and they bombed him. And then he moved to Hiroshima, and then they bombed him again.
He had family in one city. He lived in one city, and then he had family in another city, and
survived 2 nuclear blasts though. That's insane. Not many people have even witnessed a nuclear explosion, but to survive 2.
Yeah, that he is the luckiest and unluckiest man in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, like what are the odds?
It's almost like they were trying to kill him specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We didn't get him the first time. Come on. By a third time, they're like, we've run out. We didn't think it'd take 2.
Who is he? Superman?
Meanwhile, Wolverine's in the background surviving 1
Yeah.
and being like, ugh. Does he get hit by 2 in that film? Or just 1?
I think it's just 1 in the film. Yeah.
Pussy.
Yeah.
we'll have to talk about other people like this throughout history because there's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, we could do a segment.
But that's been another episode. Thank you for listening, Liam. You can do the ting.
Cool. Like and subscribe, guys.
I'm
Until next
banned
time.
from doing it from now on.
Say
Bye.
bye. Bye.